Good afternoon, Councilman. How are you? Oh,
Good afternoon, and welcome to the City of Chester Public Safety Committee meeting for June 24th, Monday, June 24th. I call this meeting to order. We'll start with our roll call, Madam Clerk.
No, you do the, you just do the, announce the committee. You do that. For the committee meeting.
Okay, then I'll do the roll call. Chair Roots is present. Council Lady Gibson is present.
present.
And Councilman Green is not present. Make a motion to approve the minutes of the last Public Safety Committee. Can I get a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Indicate by aye. Ayes have it. Minutes are approved. PS2. What is PS2?
Public safety,
Public Safety.
second meeting.
Oh, is that what that means? Okay. I didn't know. I thought it was a game system.
That's PS4, isn't it?
Oh, that's how old I am. I can't play those games. So we have two groups presenting today, right? Fire and police. I think police is pretty quick.
Yes, sir.
So come on up. Sure.
Let me go first. Just so for my strikeouts that I originally sent, we're going to be going over Part 5 of the traffic code, and we're going to be going over Section 503 down to 515, some language change, a few things, and I have some documents for you. I know Commissioner Shirley's first on board, so I'll let him go, and then I'll follow. All right?
All right.
Good afternoon, Mayor, Councilwoman Gibson.
Good afternoon.
I know last public safety meeting, we discussed some of the current ordinances, 1505, 1511, 25, 31, 35, 41, 55. I presented you guys with just some information. I didn't know if you as a committee had time to review the information and consider those ordinances for repeal.
I did look over the information that you sent.
Okay. So, and I didn't know if you guys wanted to make a motion to move those out of committee and onto council for a formal vote.
And that's what we failed to do at the last meeting, so yes, we do. So the proposed ordinances for repeal are, which ones?
1505, which is the life safety code adopted. 1511, which is permit fees. 1525 is open burning. 1531 is explosives and fireworks. 1535, gas stations. 1541 is building fire protection systems. And 1555 is smoke detection system installation.
And we're repealing these because they all roll up to the International Fire Code?
Mostly, as well as some state laws.
Some state laws. Okay. So I make a motion that we move these out of committee and to council.
I second.
Any questions?
No.
Okay.
Okay.
So that's been approved.
The next order of business is Article 1545, which was one of the articles that we did discuss last meeting. I make copies of the current, which I don't think I emailed to you, so let me just get you those. This was the one that we actually had a lot of discussion on. There was multiple things that were covered.
Thank you.
I think we do have it.
I think that's the only thing missing.
Nope.
No,
it
we
was in
have
here.
it.
Oh, was it?
Yep.
Oh, jeez. I killed a bunch of trees uselessly.
That's okay. I printed all this out too.
Yeah.
So I got doubles.
So we did discuss multiple parts of this ordinance. However, there was one section with the sale of defective fire extinguishers that is not covered under any state law. or anything like that. So out of the abundance of caution, I would like to basically revamp Article 1545, take out everything but the sale of defective fire extinguishers. So the new Article 1545, and I will have to check with the legal department because I do believe that since we are changing the ordinance, it might have to have a different ordinance number, or whether or not we can keep the same ordinance number. But I'd like to change Article 1545, remove everything out of there but the sale of defective fire extinguishers, and the new Article 1545 would be the sale of defective fire extinguishers are prohibited. Very just short to the point of, no person shall knowingly sell, trade, loan, give away any form, type, or kind of fire extinguisher. So that kind of just covers us, being that this is not covered under any type of state law. So this would be a local ordinance, kind of goes above, beyond what's not addressed at the state or even in the fire code.
The numbering here for your new Article 1545.
Yes, I see the 155103.
Yeah, what's,
I probably copied and pasted it and forgot
Okay.
that. So those
So-
are
that should be 15,
4503 and 154599.
Okay, I'm gonna need a little bit of help here.
okay, on this right here. So what he's done is he's taken
I don't have that.
all of this,
Right,
okay, and wiped it all out except for this.
15, 45,
1545. Well, it's all 1545.
point
This whole thing
17.
is 1545.
Mm-hmm,
All has been repealed
except for this one, okay.
So the question that is left is,
Typo.
well, before the typo, can he keep 1545 as an article that's only going to relate to this right here?
Okay.
All right.
Can I have a copy of that?
There's probably two in my group here.
I don't have that one.
We'll make sure you get it.
Oh.
But in any case, so you're keeping 1545, 01, 02. That should be that was the boo-boo.
45, put 47.
I'm sorry, 45. Requirements for licensing. Okay, so I see what you're saying. I guess I was looking for what would otherwise be 154503. I was thinking it should be 1545.17 because that's what it was on the old one, but you're probably right, it should be 154503 if we're
Yeah.
making a whole new
A whole-
article
And
here.
again, that's, I should say, according to Robert's rules, your, articles, ordinance numbers, they can be changed around in editing. It's the content and the body of the ordinance that is really up for discussion. Editing details like that, it's not that really big of a deal.
So 1545.99 is always penalty?
Yep, yeah, that looks like it's the way it is across the board with all ordinances.
Okay, so what used to be 1545.17 on this new one is going to be 1545.03,
Okay.
and then 1545.99, he's saying 99 is always penalty.
I need a copy of this one to finish, because I don't have it. But we can move on and
Oh.
I'll get it.
So, quiet. So can you read 1545.03 for us?
The proposed?
The proposed, yeah.
So basically,
And is it different than 17 in the old?
the only thing that is different is 17, it says a person shall not sell, trade, loan, or give away in any form.
Mm-hmm.
I put in, shall not knowingly. If you have a merchant who sells a fire extinguisher and they didn't know that it was defective, under the old ordinance, basically they can be held accountable for it. Intent, yeah, I think you need, Commissioner backing up, you have to know that there's knowledge that you were selling something that was defective. If there's no knowledge, it's not necessarily criminal. So that's why I put that knowingly in.
Knowing, that's good.
But other than that, it's basically word for word.
Okay. So I guess what you're asking us now is if we can move ahead with Article 1545 in its new adopted form, or are we going to check with legal first and see if these numbers?
I'll check with legal to see what those numbers are, but again, that's something that's, can be typed up. Like, it doesn't necessarily, you guys wouldn't have to vote on the number.
Right.
That's more administrative.
So the question for us is, do we want to pass this in this form? The only thing that may possibly change would be
The number.
the numbers.
Right.
And I say yes. So what we've done is we've nixed this
All of
entire
that.
thing,
Mm-hmm,
kept that only because we're keeping this.
right. Good.
Okay, so I make a motion that we pass Article 1545 in its newly drafted form to accommodate the sale of defective fire extinguishers, or the prohibition of selling defective fire extinguishers.
Second.
There's no questions, no comments?
No.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Us. So we will move the sale of defective fire extinguishers prohibited to council for their consideration.
Okay, and the second article that we're going to be discussing today is Article 1551, which is currently the licensing fire protection equipment installers and contractors. When you read through this article, basically it requires anyone who installs or contractors pass a written test that's established by the fire department prior to them doing work here in the city. We are not accredited, we're not an accrediting agency, we're not going to compile a list. We are not subject matter experts when it comes to all of the different fire protection systems that are out there, be it fire extinguishers, sprinklers, commercial systems. Those are years and years of training. We have a basic cursory knowledge of fire protection systems, but not enough to credential. So that being said, the proposed new Article 1551, and again, we had to check with legal to see if we'd have to change the article number, but it's fire protection equipment contractor licensing requirements. And it basically spells out some definitions, but the requirement for becoming a licensed contractor to do any type of work on any fire protection system here in the city, they would have to become licensed by the fire department, but they would have to prove that they are certified by a nationally recognized accredited agency.
So who would they go to? Like, how will we know that they are accredited?
So once they complete these accreditation courses, they basically get a certificate of completion, if you will. And that's spelled out in the requirements. So if, let's just say for fire alarms, anyone who designs a fire alarm system is required to be NICET, which is the National Institute for Certification in Engineering Technologies. They're required to be a NICET level 3 or higher, or an ESA, ESA doesn't really stand for anything, that's just the name of the company. Certified Fire Alarm Designer, level 3, or a licensed public engineer in Pennsylvania, or some type of equivalent. So they would have to show up and say, here is my NICET 3 level certification. And I didn't make copies, and I can share this with you guys afterwards, but you have to meet a certain amount of years of experience, a certain amount of years of training. You have to basically prove yourself and show that you know what it is you're doing in order to get that NICET certification. So the new requirement now is, look, if you show up and you're certified by this nationally recognized accrediting agency to this level, you're basically permitted to do work in here because you've demonstrated the fact that you're competent enough to do this type of work. And in addition to that, we're also going to require insurance requirements, because even though they are certified and we're basically we're granting them a license, if they mess up, the property owner could turn back and say, well, why did you license this person? And it can kind of come back on us. So that's why we add in the additional insurance requirement to where, hey, if you screw up, you basically need to name the city of Chester as someone that can be paid out, so that if we're going after we're not paying for it. It's this contractor's insurance company that is basically getting insurance in our name.
So my question is, like, what does the verifying process look like for you guys? Like, somebody can go out and say, I'm accredited, here's my paperwork. How do we check that? What's that process look like?
It's a matter of just getting, or them having that paperwork, and this is, we can also always contact these agencies and say, hey, is this an actual license?
Okay.
But I will say this, the way that this new article is drafted, and especially with NICET, is basically what most of Pennsylvania uses. A lot of the other municipalities are using. And any sprinkler contractor that, or any fire protection contractor that is legitimate have these accreditations, because not only are they required here in Pennsylvania, they're required in New Jersey. It's just or any fire protection contractor that is a legitimate business realizes that they need to be accredited, and they're going to have these things. To them, it's a walk in the park. Or I should say, it's just standard operating procedure. It's standard business practice.
I just want to make sure we're able to verify that the documentation that they present is accurate. So you're saying that we can check up on that?
Oh, yeah, if you were to call any of these agencies and just say, hey, look, is so-and-so with license number 12345 actually licensed with you guys? Yeah, and typically these things too are, not necessarily annually, but they could be like every 3 years that they need to go back and show that they've done a certain amount of continuing education. They need to reapply for their license. So it's like, hey, it's a $150 fee to be a NICET level 3 certified alarm technician.
And will that be outlined for the individual
So
contractor?
we have, what's not included in this article is basically when they come to apply for the license for the fire department, it'll be spelled out, what license are you applying for? If you're applying for this license, this is the documentation you need to provide. And we won't issue that license until it's provided. And then when our fire inspectors are out walking around and they go into a building and they see, okay, ABC fire extinguishers service these fire extinguishers, we can go back, well, they never obtained a license here in the city to service fire extinguishers. So we can call them up and be like, hey, you guys are in violation of this article. We need to make sure that you meet these requirements, because realistically, if you wanted to start up Gibson Fire Extinguisher Servicing tomorrow, you could, and you could just walk around and hand out tags, even though you don't have any knowledge of it. So it's kind of safeguards against that. And what I'd like to, moving forward, is that as contractors come in to get licensed, we're going to be able to publish that on the fire department's website. So if there's residents that have questions or businesses that have questions, what fire contractors are licensed here in the city, they can go to the website and, oh yeah, ABC fire extinguishers are licensed, and we know that the city has basically checked them out, and they do have the proper training certifications, insurance credentials, all that other stuff.
That's good.
Yeah.
So we do look here first in the city to see what accredited companies there are to do this type of work. We do look in Chester first.
What do you mean?
Meaning, are we looking at companies outside of Chester?
It's any company that wants to do work here inside city limits. If you want to work on sprinkler systems here in the city, you need to meet these requirements in order because we want to make sure that whatever work you're doing, it's correct, it's done by trained professionals, and you guys are certified and insured to do the work, because it's a life safety system, and we want to make sure that our residents and businesses are getting qualified contractors to do this type of work. Whether the business is here inside the city or it's a nationally recognized one like Cintas does fire extinguishers. Cintas, they just need to get a license, and we need to be sure that they're trained, certified, insured to do the work.
First, they have to be trained and certified, but I just wanted to know if there are any entities here in Chester that, can do that type of work. And do we look at what we have at home before going out?
Well, I honestly don't know of any fire protection contractors here in the city. That's not to say that they're not in here, but this is the decision of the business that is getting the work done. So, like, for example, Kimberly-Clark. If Kimberly-Clark, which has multiple fire protection systems, decide to go with ABC Fire Company, fire contractors, that's their decision. They get to choose. Yeah, it's the businesses and the residents. They get to choose whoever they want to do business with. Our concern is just that those people that they are selecting from are accredited and they're going to do the right work. They're not going to, get shoddy work. Yeah, no problem.
I'm good.
Okay. Very good. And I also, in speaking with this, I spoke with sprinkler contractors who are working at the state level, because right now, because Pennsylvania is a commonwealth, it basically goes down to the lowest form of government, the municipality, whereas in states like New Jersey, a contractor can go over and get a state license and can practice anywhere in the state of New Jersey, no matter what the town. So it's a little bit different here in Pennsylvania just because our form of government's set up a little bit differently, but they are looking at the sprinkler contractors. There's an association here in the state, and they're working with state legislatures to pass a similar law in Pennsylvania. Because unfortunately, there are municipalities like, and I'm going to pick on Eddystone, even though I don't know anything about them, they could just say, you need to have a license to work on fire extinguishers here. It's $150. They'll collect that $150. Okay, thank you. They won't check to see if they're certified or trained or anything like that. And there's other municipalities that they don't care. They'll let anyone work on them for free, for no, even not a licensing fee. So there is some movement at the state level, trying to get something like this passed across the board for the state, just a little bit more difficult because of our form of government. I spoke with, again, the president of, where's it at? The NAFED, which is National Association of Fire Equipment Distributors. And I spoke with him and actually shared this legislation with him, and he kind of said, like, you probably want to add this, you want to take out that. A lot of different entities in terms of contractors and accrediting agencies, the people who deal with this day in, day out, reviewed this and kind of looked it over just to make sure that it was good. So, and I will say, like I said, a lot of this too is just somewhat copy and paste from other municipalities. We're not really reinventing the wheel. We're just kind of bringing it up to current standards.
You did a very good job. You did your due diligence to make sure that the necessary changes are here, and I appreciate that.
Oh, no problem. Thank you. It's my pleasure.
So, the process starts at L&I. So when do they know to come to you guys for fire inspections?
That's currently some of the discussion, because ultimately there should just be a contractor license requirement citywide, and that should be for plumbing, electrical, whatever else is out there, HVAC. Once L&I puts together something like that, what I'll probably wind up doing is coming back and saying we're going to absorb this into the city contractor licensing ordinance, and then that would fall under licensing and inspection, because that's what they do, is issue license. But right now, we kind of live just within the fire department, and we do it now with like licenses for fireworks, explosives. Like, we kind of handle that. So this would just be something that we would get, that we would handle until it's in place with license inspection. But we would be working together on that.
Okay. So we were presented with a couple things. Article 1551, one of them says licensing fire protection equipment installers and contractors.
Yes, that's the current. That's
Okay,
the current
that's the current one.
one as it is written, and
All right.
then the new one, which is fire protection equipment contractor license requirements, which has draft written on it. That's the proposed.
Gotcha.
Just so that you guys can kind of see back and forth. And again, even in the current one, 155103, all installers, contractors shall pass a written test established by the department prior to the issuance of a license. I'm not coming up with a test. I wouldn't even know what to test for. Yes.
Putting licensing and
So you see what we're saying here?
Yes.
That's current.
Mm-hmm.
That's proposed.
the company that makes the determination that someone is meets all the criteria.
Ah.
We have
I do not know, Councilwoman. That would be a question that you would have to ask license inspection. And again, the only thing was, we're just verifying that there's a third-party accrediting agency that is saying, hey, these people have met these standards.
But then we don't have anyone who can fact check to make sure that that fact is true.
What do you mean?
What I'm saying is, we have an accredited company who comes forward and say that their company meets all the criteria, but who on our end can back check to make sure that what they're saying is true?
Well, these are. No. I'm just trying to understand. Are you talking about the contractors to see if they're licensed through these third parties, or are you talking about the actual third-party company that's doing the accreditation? Okay, so we would be able to contact those third-party accreditation agencies and check to see if they have licenses if we wanted to. And I'd also have to check too, well, I'll come back to that in a second. But as far as these nationally accredited agencies, I mean, they're nationally accredited. They're kind of the industry leaders. They set the standards. It's almost like, so for the fire department, we have what's called Pro Board. And they're a nationally accredited agency. And basically, if you have a Pro Board Firefighter 1 certification, you've met the standard for the NFPA 1001 Firefighter 1 certification. And so it says you're able to do A, B, C, and D. And with Pro Board, they actually have a website you can go on and you put the person's name and the last four of their social, and it basically lists every Pro Board certification they've ever obtained. But I mean, as far as these, the third parties for accreditation, I mean, they're nationally recognized bodies. I don't really know who we would go to check to make sure that these nationally recognized bodies have obtained their accreditation. No, I understand, but these.
You're saying because they're nationally accredited.
Right.
That everything's okay.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're basically industry accepted accrediting agencies. This is what multiple municipalities, multiple states use to determine whether or not these people meet certain standards.
Really, if I comment for you.
No, please.
So, Councilman, underneath accreditation, kind of like what we're headed towards the police department for the future is, we'll put out a RFP. One thing we asked for as an RFP request proposal is that you need 3 to 5 character records who can vouch for you. Besides that, when you're accredited agencies, you need to do updates every several years, and if not, departments are notified that you're no longer accredited. That's how they track them. I don't know if that's easy to explain. You're welcome.
One second. Just wanted to make sure I was saying it right. So what you're asking is sort of like saying if you got a television and the cord that plugs into the wall has a little label on it that says it's UL certified, Underwriter Laboratory certified. What the manufacturer is saying is that the cord that is plugging into the wall meets all the standards of that standard setting organization. They've spent the money that they made the cord to its specs. So what you're sort of asking is, how do you check to make sure Underwriter's Laboratory is doing their job right? You pretty much just trust that they do. Because that's what they're in business to do. That's why companies pay so much money to have their label on their cords. Or if it's, food related, you might see NSF, type labels. These are just national organizations that make sure that standards are set, very high. Can you check on the standard setter? Of course you can, but the point we're making here is that, we're going through these standards type organizations that will, if the organization passes, puts their stamp of approval on it, and we just accept that as proof that they've spent the money, they've gone through the process, they've been approved, and it gets us out of the burden of trying to do, as our old ordinance says, that type of testing to verify ourselves. So we're making sure that the groups that come to us to do this type of work are certified through nationally accredited agencies, and there's only one of them.
Yeah, and Councilman, I apologize. If I made it sound confusing. And I guess a simpler way to put it is, what we're looking for is a college degree. So if someone comes in with a degree from Harvard or Princeton or Yale, that's basically what these agencies are. They're the Harvard, Princeton's, Yales. So we're gonna say, yeah, they got a diploma from Yale, I'm okay with it. Now, if they came in and they said, you know, I have a college degree from Walmart, well, and it's basically saying like, no, I'm sorry, that Walmart certification is not gonna do it. So these agencies are basically the Harvard, Yales of and the educational side of it, to kind of draw a comparison.
Do we have any other questions on Article 1551? So again, we just added a lot more heft to what we had before. We're out of the business of trying to approve these service providers. We're just going to make sure they've been approved by these regulating agencies. And you've added the certificate of insurance up to $1 million.
Yes, that's not in there as well. So that's basically the contractors need to have the city of Chester named as, I don't say a liable party, but if anything were to happen, we're basically insured through their insurance.
So do we need to add that to this then, right?
It's in there.
It's added.
Yep.
That's old.
Oh, this is the old
This is
one.
the new.
Yeah, the old one doesn't have that.
It starts with fire protection.
I must got a whole set of different notes here. This is what I printed out. I'm just going to look on yours.
Okay. So that would be the insurance. Is that it? Yeah. They've never had to do add the city as an added insured on their policies, right? Okay. Generally, it's pretty affordable. You expect any
It's the cost of doing business.
cost of doing business, and it protects the city.
Contractors who do this for a living, this is standard operating procedure for them.
Thank you.
Okay. That was pretty simple, but pretty exhaustive at
No.
the same time.
All good, all good. So that's my, you guys have questions, and I'm here to answer them.
All right, well, I'd like to make a motion to move Article 1551 in its proposed new format.
A second.
Recommend that it
Oh,
leaves council, leaves committee to council. Got a second from council lady? Any questions? Let's vote. All those in favor? Aye?
Aye.
Aye, we got 3 ayes. The motion passes. So Article 1551, the revised 1551 will go before council and are up, not this week's, but the following council meeting.
Can I get a copy of both of those?
You can have it all.
I
yeah.
don't want to have it all. I just want to have my own copy.
So I got, you get a copy of that and a copy of this one.
Yes.
There's
I got
more?
plenty of paper here, so we can connect afterwards, and I can, if I
Okay.
have it, I'll give it to you.
Yeah, you probably have mines anyway.
I might. So,
Next.
thank you. And
Oh, that's it? That's it for today?
That's it for today.
You're not introducing those
job.
other
No,
things?
no, the two I introduced next time, that's gonna
Okay.
be in committee for a while.
Thank you. And then we're picking up.
I was promised a half hour, but I see Shirley took 7 minutes of my time, so
Oh,
I'm gonna try to talk fast for
Is
you.
this one mine? Did you have this in your packet? Okay, thanks. That's what we're gonna hop on now.
yeah, let me get, make sure I got the right thing here.
I'm sure.
Okay. This is the state statute, the vehicle code. Councilwoman?
Thank you.
You didn't send that earlier?
Not really, actually.
Got all this paper up here. Give me a second to kind
I
of
got you.
sort things out. All right, you go up top, you go over here. Go forward.
So what you've handed us, these are the new ones, right?
No, they're actually Title 75. They're the state statutes. I'll refer to them to give you some information. This is actually our vehicle code
Okay,
in Pennsylvania.
okay.
One second there, sir. Oh, you went back to back.
Yeah, I was having an issue with one of our copiers. I'm trying to save a tree, okay?
Saving a tree and confusion. So we're gonna be talking about
So-
Articles 503.
Yeah, so we're going to start at 503, and
And
we're
then
going to,
507,
correct?
and then,
511,
hold on there, Bob Louie. Okay, 511.
and then 515 will be the last one that I will be addressing.
515. And just to give me a clue, what's your objective today in introducing these?
So, going through these, I see a lot of these ordinances could be redundant with our state statutes. One thing I would like to see is that our ordinance book is very thick. I think when it was written, it was meant well, but as times change, same thing like policies, procedures, or directives, it needs to be addressed. And that's the main thing here, is seeing some of the old language and addressing some of the stuff that I'd like to see be rescinded and then move forward from it. That's my goal today.
Okay.
All right?
Starting with 503?
So we're going to go to 5030.4, accident reports.
That would be on page, the flip side.
Yep.
So, just turn that over, Fred. See where he's got 504, 503.04, everything. Okay.
So if you see, I completely strike that out. The handout that I just given you, if you can go to the last page, and it's Vehicle Code Title 75, 3744, duty to give information and render aid. This is what the state statute reads, and we should rescind 503.4 from our ordinance and books, and then this Title 75, this completely trumps it.
Say it again, please. You said 503,
503.4,
I'll do it from here.
503.4, that's the
Flip page.
accident
Just flip
reports.
that page. So that's right here.
All right,
And then this, everything that he struck out is picked up. 3744.
okay.
And the way you'll refer to it is right here.
Oh, got it. Thanks.
So my suggestion already is that we're going to have to review this outside of here. I don't think we'll be sending any of this to be.
No, because it's a lot.
All right, continue.
okay? And then when we get down to 503.05,
Yep.
at the bottom of it where it says, as authorized by section 8010 of the 1959 Commonwealth Vehicle Code, that needs to be crossed out. That's dysfunction, deficient right now. It should say Pennsylvania Motor Vehicle Code Title 75, which is now in place. You can see the year 1959, the times changed to be on point. You need to have that in there, Title 75. That just, all the other language is good, just the last sentence, if we could cross that out and add Pennsylvania Motor Vehicle Code, Title 75 is where we want to be.
Okay.
And Title 75 is what you just gave us.
That's only parts of right now. Title
Okay.
75 it's very thick.
Okay.
It's kind of the holy Bible of traffic code violations.
All right, where are you adding Title 75?
I put it in red, you should have it, and then it says Pennsylvania Motor Vehicle Code, it should say Title 75. I've had that written in, I didn't put that there, but that's the title for it, for the vehicle code.
Oh, the Pennsylvania Motor Vehicle Code is called Title 75.
Title 75, correct.
All right.
Just that one small change, that's what I would like to see.
That has nothing to do with the yellow highlight on 503.06.
No, nothing at all.
Okay.
So 503.06, local traffic control. When you read through the ordinance, everything is given the mayor, the mayor, the mayor. But we need to check with our legal department, our solicitor department, because from being a police officer now to the commissioner, I know a lot of things have to go through PennDOT, depending on the roadway, state roads. Also, there has to be a traffic study, and along with the traffic study to declare that. So this is something I would like to table and have the solicitor review.
So when you say table, you're saying this isn't something you'd want to see move forward until you talk to the,
That's
Solicitor.
correct. Let's
Okay.
cross our T, dot, and I. That's what I mean. Let's just table it, have them review it. I think getting their feedback is essential for this.
okay.
Ready?
Yep.
All right. 503.07, central business traffic circulation. The language in here is fine. I mean, I'm born and raised in the city, but I don't know where Deshawn Street is. I don't know to the history buffs. This no longer exists. I think we should just exit out.
Was it in the park?
I don't, we ain't driving through
little
the park.
street-
Maybe it
little
was at one
street.
point. I don't know.
Okay.
I've been around there. I double checked, Councilman. I couldn't find it. That's why I was asking for the history buffs on this one.
Deshong Street, one way north. Had to be somewhere around there, because you have the cross streets, Crosby Street and,
You have Crosby,
Madison
and then you have
Street.
the old luxury limousine, and then it circles around.
Right.
Goes to 12th Street, but like I said, I've never heard of it. And I asked around a little bit. That will finish that, and then if we can go to Article 507, vehicle operations.
You got it.
mixed around here, okay. Page 8.
We're going to start at 507.02, speed limit.
You got it. Okay.
Ready? So I crossed this completely out, and if you go to page 6 of your handout I gave you, and if you go to the top of the page, 3362, maximum speed limits. This, again, this is a state statute. I would like to see this be removed because in this language in the ordinance, it has 25 miles per hour, but there's others, like 291 is 35 miles per hour. There's other, that's the issue I have. I think having 3362 in there, the language is from the state, it's in Title 75, it's more stronger, and I believe this is what it should, this is what we should have.
So right now, it's currently 25 miles per hour,
If
is
you
that?
read it, I crossed all out, it always says 25 miles an hour.
Mm-hmm. maybe doing 60 down that road, so.
I mean, you get what I'm trying to get at?
Mm-hmm. There-
All the streets in Chester are 25 miles per hour?
No.
Or supposed to be?
It all depends where you're at. That's, in the ordinance, it just says 25 miles per hour. Again, like I said, my main goal is here, it's the first meeting I'm having with you guys, is to put it to you, have you look at it and discuss it, and then the next meeting, when I go over the next few ordinances, to move forward from it.
I have a question, though.
Sure.
In 3362, about the maximum speed limits. It talks about the general rules, but then is 291 considered a highway?
I mean, it's in the city, it's not considered a highway. Highway would be like 95.
Okay. Only because it says 65 miles per hour, and they're always doing about 65 miles per
Yeah.
hour on 291.
And then also, in reference to that, which we want to get back to, our main thing is getting our weights and measure, our highway department back out there, because there's a thing called aerobic, where you mark the lines in the road, and you have stopwatches, and it's certified through the state, and you clock the speed. This is another good thing for the city that we're going to aim for. But I do agree with you. We've had numerous fatalities on 291. You know as well as I do, once 95 gets backed up, where do people go to?
291.
9th Street, 7th Street, 3rd Street, 291, and it's just a cut through at that point.
And I thought 291 predominantly says 35.
It is 35 miles per hour. Moving next to operation at stop sign. If we go to page 5, if you flip over, the state statute would be 3323, stop signs and yield signs. Again, is like when I was going through this,
3312.
oh, I'm sorry, that's an error on my, no.
3323.
No, that was an error on my end. I had 3312, it should read 3323. I'll apologize, I have that in red, Mayor. I saw that before I came over and I corrected it and I added this. That's on me.
So page 5.
Yeah, the handout I gave you, it reads it in there.
I see it
Gotcha.
on here.
And then also, for these vehicle stops, the officers aren't writing a city ordinance. They're going to go through the state statute, of which they're writing. That's why our main goal is like to eliminate some of this and to go with what our state statute reads, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
Well, the state statute supersedes the city's ordinance anyway.
Correct.
But in court, it gets confusing
It does. It does.
if we just don't clear it
The
up.
magistrate, district court?
Yeah, it could, because somebody could come with this, they come with that, and then it has to be decided. So if we take it out of, our books and it's all with the state, then it's real simple.
Makes sense.
And then also, you'll have a defense attorney throughout you. Well, why'd you write an ordinance at night when you could have wrote the state statute? It just, I've seen it before.
Yeah.
The state statute is better language. It's certified, it's stamped by the state, and it's what you taught in the police academy. Again, it's the Bible.
Mm-hmm.
All right. For Article 511, I strongly suggest that with the parking authority and with the solicitor's office, they should go over this section.
Hold on, my boy.
I'm sorry.
Let me catch up to you. Thank you.
Should be page 11 of the strikeouts that I gave you. Up top, it says 11.
I know, I'm slow.
Mm-hmm.
There we go.
And who are you recommending look over this? You said the parking authority?
And the solicitor's office, correct, the legal team.
Okay. Oh,
Parking authority and solicitor?
Yes. If the parking authority has, which they should have a legal team, I would definitely make sure this document goes to them before moving forward.
Is there still a Bell Telephone Company?
I'm getting ready to get to that. Don't steal my thunder yet. All right? Don't steal my thunder yet. So 511, 2.0, I have changed language to reflect that it's the property of Verizon. That's the language on 511.20 I would like to see, because as Councilman Green said, is there a Bell telephone? Not to my knowledge. And if you actually go to it, I have it striked out, I have it changed in red.
Look at 511.24.
511.2.4.
I mean, there's just a bunch of typos in there. It looks like this has been converted from maybe Adobe to Word, because some of these words are misspelled. Prohibited is spelled wrong.
I know.
I'm sure a third is what TIDRD is. So let's just go through this, and when we do change it, change all these.
Yeah, make
like,
sure that,
all this
I'll make sure of that.
Prohibited is wrong. Okay, but that's cool.
All right, and like I said, if you flip over to, I have it scratched out, changed to Verizon, or
Yep.
with the address. And then, coming down, last but not least, section 515, which will be our last one today. Me going through this, I mean, I look at it certain different ways, but I think this should fall under Public Works. I mean, if you look declaration, definition, emergency routes, I think this is more handled from them, but also through our command center if we were to have a blizzard, depending on what, we work in this together as a team, but I think this should get put towards Public Works instead of on the police end.
Okay.
And that's it.
No, it's not.
I'm sorry.
You got 519.
No, I stopped at 5:15.
But you gave us 519.
I know, I gave you a little more, but I told you I wasn't gonna be too long. I figured I'd
Okay.
stop at 5:15.
I have a
today.
question though,
Yeah.
and since we're on 519 about the junk vehicles. Does anything in there need to be changed
So
at all?
I did make changes already.
Okay.
I didn't want to move forward to them because with speaking to our chief operator Leitner, he said go to 3 or 4, so that's why I stopped it. I'm gonna do 4 at a time. I'll try to push through more or whatever, but I didn't want to give you guys too much at once, especially being the first meeting.
Well, that one comes up a lot.
It does.
I know, but that's, and at the next meeting, I'll be prepared, I'll give you the documents you need, and like I said, I just slowly want to give you piece by piece, and then looking forward to the next meeting.
Thank you so very much.
And again, if you read through these are the state statutes, it's good to have in language to have for your review.
While you're here, I don't know if this is on the weight station. Is there any movement or any, do we have any ordinances on the weight station? Or
So currently, right now, Councilman Green, it's no secret, I need officers, man. I went and got the scale certified, had the state come down, we're ready to go. I had a class probably 7 or 8 months ago where we got some of our officers certified. I have to look at overtime. Some of the money I want to use for overtime, if I was to use it, I could eventually lose my grant. I can't do that. Our biggest thing is hiring, getting people here, and rolling our highway unit back out. That's one of the first things that we need to do. Because again, it's not just with the way station. Yeah, I hear residents come here all the time. They talk about how fast the cars are going through Barclay Street, or how they're driving down 9th Street during school hours. And then you hear about Blessing Catholic Drexel on Providence. There's ways to deploy things, and there's tactics that we could use, that we could address, and also it brings money into the city. It's frustrating, to be honest with you.
All right, let's wrap this one up real quick, though. Of the articles that you brought us today, it appears to be 1, 2, 3, 4. Just looking at
I'll make sure it's not double-sided next time, too, Mayor.
5, 6, 7, 8 sections in here that we need to review ourselves so that when we
Okay.
come back next time, we'll have read through this, compared it to,
Perfect.
what's it called? 75.
Title 75.
Title 75,
Their traffic code.
and just be prepared to move this forward with the changes he's proposing today. And then you said you'll be picking up on Article 519.
Yep, like I said,
When you
we'll
return.
go through, we'll knock out another 4 to 6
Four of
ordinance
them.
next meeting.
Okay, so there's really nothing to vote on today, but thanks for the presentation.
Thank you.
That was very good.
Enjoy your day.
All right. Are there any comments from the audience today? I think that concludes our public safety pieces. Anything from council? Come on, council man. What you got? Nothing? Okay. All right. This meeting's adjourned. Thank you, Madam Clerk.
You're welcome.
That's a lot of paper. I owe you a couple copies.